Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I say evening, it is our time here. I hope you are all doing well. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, it feels weird. It's no Snowflake show. By the way, I have no idea how this is going to go format-wise, this show. I'm winging this a little bit, so we're not doing any articles. We're not going to be doing any reading, anything like that. We're going to be anything today, so it's going to be a little bit different. So a bit more free load, shall we say, today, guys. So we'll see how it goes. Listen to a bunch of, we're going to watch a bunch of clips. I've got loads and loads of clips together, and I've got extras if we need to, but essentially it's going to be a lot of it of me expressing my opinions, you guys expressing your opinions about certain things that's happened today over the last couple of days, and we share our thoughts. Obviously I don't know how YouTube will react to some of the videos that I'll play, but you trial and error is all that I'll say. But that's what the Snowflakes Watch is about. It's not about us reading articles today, so this is something a little bit different than what I normally do, so we'll see how it goes. Jao is here. Good evening, Jao. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Good to see you. And Lefty Boater is here in the chat as well. Guys, there's a poll up in the chat. If you guys did watch PMQs today, we'll see a couple of clips as well, so that might change your opinion maybe as time passes on. Who performed best at PMQs today? Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, or Stephen Flynn? The reason why I put Stephen Flynn is because well, I think I've got a clip of him that we will look at in a bit as well. So pretty much everything that we're going to be covering is coming off clips are going to be coming off Twitter. My voice is a bit shattered, but today, because of I did the longest Regan's news round that I've ever done before, so I'm already decided that I'm definitely changing the format next week of my schedule, because this schedule is not suitable for me. Yeah, I will be changing that. Number 3, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good week. Okay, so we're going to start here. I need to add all the Twitter handlers to the details, which I didn't do. That's one of my bugbearers here. Let me make sure that's up. So we're going to talk about Andrea Leadsom, guys. We've got quite a few clips from Andrea Leadsom, and I'm sure some of you guys have already heard some comments, but we're going to play some of them together. And let's just you know, she's really I mean, just some of the thoughts that she's been making lately, it's just been quite crazy. I mean, this first one here, guys, that we're going to listen to. So the government has acknowledged that the new Brexit checks are going to cost businesses an extra £330 million a year. And her response is that there are big opportunities from trade deals. I mean, like we've talked to the cows come home about Brexit, but let's just hear what she has to say, guys. Let me know what the volume level is like as well, guys, as I play the clip, if it's too high, too low, whatever, as well.
Yeah, but the government has acknowledged that it's going to cost businesses in the UK an extra £330 million a year.
So, again, there are big opportunities from free trade deals. We have huge trading arrangements with the United States. As I say, we've signed up.
Okay, hold on a second. Can I just? I'm just going to go back a second. What did she say about the US?
There are big opportunities from free trade deals. We have huge trading arrangements with the United States.
Okay, we do have trading arrangements with the United States, but we don't have a trade deal, which is what we were told we were going to get as well. Was that not something we were told we were going to get once we officially left the EU, that we would have a big trading deal with the US? I seem to recall that. Am I missing something, chat? I'm sure we were told that we were going to get a proper good trade deal that would help make up for the EU. Can't quite seem to remember what happened to that.
As I say, we've signed up to this Trans-Pacific Partnership, 2 other free trade deals. Well, actually, businesses always face the cost of doing business.
Yes, But you're supposed to, as a government, is it not the job of a government to make businesses as easy as it's possible for them? I'm sure that that's what you want businesses to do. You want businesses to do better. And, you know, the better businesses do, the more economy that goes in. What's that? Not access to his phone. I'm not sure. It's still there. I'm not sure why. It's not coming up. Oh dear, I'm having serious problems here on my side. Oh dear. 1 second, guys. Is my camera gone? My camera is gone. No. Yeah, my camera's gone. Can I at least do that? Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. I wish. Oh God. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the rest of the stream without. Yeah, video went haywire. I don't know if that's the camera. That's not the first time that's happened. It happened when I wasn't live, so I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. But looks like I'm gonna have to. Yeah, looks like it's gonna be no camera for the rest of the show, guys. But so I'm not gonna be able to show my reactions. But yeah, because I was trying to look at what was wrong with why Alistair Keir can't see it, but there's nothing I can do. So it's fine. If he can't see it, he can't see it. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not the end of the world. That poll really isn't. Anyway. So I completely lost my train of thought. So I'm going to scroll it back, yeah, because it's just to refresh my memory now.
The free trade deals. Well, actually, businesses always face the cost of doing business.
Yes, like I said, yes, of course, but the job of the government is to make it easier for businesses, is it not? Because you want to make it easier for them to do business, and you want them to be able to invest in the UK, so that it helps grow the economy. Because doesn't that what a good business does? Helps grow the economy. I thought that's would have been the whole point of it. So why would we want to make it more difficult for businesses?
Businesses knew at the time of Brexit that in leaving the European single market, there would be additional checks at the border.
Now, that's flat out wrong, because in the run-up to 2016 Brexit, the referendum on leaving the EU, we were told on numerous occasions, and we've said this, we were said this numerous times, and we're going to keep. It's been called out how many times? I've lost count. By not just by people on YouTube, but journalists, hundreds and hundreds of experts in analysis have said this was not what people were told at that ballot box. If people were told this at the ballot box, the result would categorically be different to what it is now. I think there's no argument about this whatsoever.
Border, because by definition we were no longer in that single market. There was no surprise about that. I can certainly.
There was no surprise, guys. Yeah, she apparently she knew, guys, but we didn't. There was no surprise about it all, apparently.
I remember as business secretary myself back in 2019, every day meeting with businesses, roundtables, to help them to prepare for us actually leaving the European Union and to understand the additional checks that would be required. So businesses are used to the costs of doing business. I understand that today is a big news.
We keep saying that businesses are used to doing the cost of business. Yes, but what they don't have is certainty. There's so much lack of certainty about where we are going that the reason why businesses need to know where we're going. Why should a business outside the UK want to invest in the EU when they don't know where we're going. I mean, at the moment, if you're looking on the outside as a business, why would you want to do any dealings with the United Kingdom? Why would you? I mean, you could. I mean, the only plausible one in the UK, I would say, is probably Northern Ireland. But I don't see right now. It just seems very, very crazy right now to want to do any kind of deals whatsoever with the UK.
Story, because it's something that finally has come home to roost. But the fact of the matter remains that businesses have huge opportunities with other parts of the world, which are the direct benefit of us leaving the European Union.
With all due respect, it's not about it being a big news story. It's about the small businesses that it's going to impact. We're speaking to a florist later on who will not be able to afford the flowers coming from Holland because she can't afford the checks that are going to have to be done and the increase in flowers as a result.
And as I say, leaving the single market was always going to have implications.
But what would you say to her and those like her?
So what I would say, I mean, I've had many constituency cases over the years of people who've changed their trading arrangements with the European Union as a result of different frictions, whether it's postal costs changing, whether it's border controls and so on.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
So what are you saying then? So what are you implying then, Andrea? What are you implying then exactly?
That businesses need to adapt to meet the changing environment. There are huge...
You're saying about, yes, they need to change and adapt. Yes, but you made it worse for them. Your political party made it worse for them. Like, let's not beat around the bush on one thing, guys. Like whatever you might think of Jeremy Corbyn, he would not have left businesses lying and hanging like the Conservative Party have. It is... This is just... Am I the only one that's going... I'm not going crazy here. I know she's the one that's gone cuckoo.
Opportunities from the rest of the world. Well, I don't know her particular circumstances.
She can't afford the flowers and the extra increase that it's going to cost her to get the checks before she brings them over from the Netherlands.
So there are many parts of the United Kingdom that are flower growers themselves.
So she's basically saying stop. So are you basically saying stop buying from the Netherlands then? Is that what you're saying?
And there are other parts of the world.
So she shouldn't buy from Europe. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying that at all.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying, isn't it? This is a nice one to remember. This is 2016. What she said: "We will continue to trade tariff-free. We do not want to be in the single market. We want free trade tariffs with the European Union." And she's a completely different person. 2024.
We would continue to trade tariff-free because it's in their interest, even more than ours.
One of the points about leaving the single market is that there is increased checks at the borders because you're not in the single...
Two different people. I don't recognise either of them. Right, let me just say hello, Alistair Kidd. Good to see you, buddy. Sorry I didn't say hello because I got distracted with the whole thing. Jura, good to see you. I hope you're doing well as well. Ben Shaw is here as well. Good evening, Ben Shaw. Hope you're doing well. Jal says, even if the EU companies were told there were checks, the UK government said to its citizens that there would not be any checks and everyone in the EU would be looking at them in awe. I remember as far as 2018, an online guide here for companies on how to do business with the UK in Portugal. That guide has been updated and is still online. Yeah, but businesses were not told. Businesses were not told, and that was the biggest issue here. They were left in limbo. We'll pick up on James O'Brien in just a moment, but here, guys, this is the independent florist Lisa, Michigan. She responds to Andrea Leadsom's suggestion that she would be buying more flowers from the UK. So I wonder how she feels about all this.
What impact is all this new paperwork going to have on you?
It's going to be really impactful. I mean, it's already been a difficult world since the implementation of Brexit. I mean, I opened my business in 1996 and have been running it successfully, and I import all of my product from Holland because it's not available in the UK. And since the implementation of Brexit and also alongside with COVID, my costs have doubled. Not just
So all her flowers, her business, all comes from Holland, yeah. So these flowers in particular that she has, they're not going to be what she's going to be able to get in the UK specifically. She has to get them. She's getting them for her businesses specifically from the Netherlands. And before Brexit, before these checks that are about to come in, it was a great business model and it worked really well. And now her business is as she just said there, her costs are doubled, but they're probably going to go up even more now because of these as time passes on and things get worse. Jim Stevenson, good to see you, buddy. He said hello to all my partners. A florist from flowers from Holland, the UK are not available. From Holland are not available in the UK. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Does this woman even know the costs of importing from the other side of the world? Apparently not. No. No camera today, guys. Apparently it froze out for those who are joining in. So I'm kind of winging this today. So we're just seeing how this goes. By the way, just in case people are wondering.
The percentage they have actually doubled.
Okay. Let me put this to you, Lisa, if I may. Sorry to interrupt you, but spoke to the minister this morning about this and I actually cited your example and the fact that you get all of your flowers from the Netherlands and it's going to cost you so much more money and the impact it's going to have on your business. And then she basically said, buy your flowers from the UK instead.
But that would be a great idea, and I would love to do that. And I've been making that suggestion for years, but the product just isn't there in the UK. You know, we're geographically in the same location as Holland, but we don't support our British growers. You know, everything has to be grown under glass at this time of year. You know, nothing can be grown outside. If you look in your garden, you know, there are no flowers there. So they have to be grown under glass, and we just don't do that in the UK. We don't do it. I would, you know, gladly use British flowers, but they just aren't there.
Would it be?
This is the thing. If the government really wants British businesses to be successful and not to rely on the EU, you need to incentivize and encourage and invest British businesses to do this. And there's nothing here for her. All her work, everything comes from Holland, and now it's just looking pretty grim for her. And this is just going to be one of many businesses that are going to struggle. And we've already talked in articles about how the cost of food is going to go up. It amazes me just how delusional some people can be, says number 3. It is. This is clinical madness, says Joe. Yeah, it is madness. It is madness. We used to have a daffodil farm in Cornwall. Went bust due to the lack of staff. Where do we get those now, says number 3. Exactly. That's another daffodil farm, as you said there. You know, that's a business. You know, and that's one less business that people can go and work and contribute and benefit the economy, and it's gone. So this is the old Andrea Leadsom, guys. 2016, you claim that we could leave the EU but still have access to the single market on the same basis as we do now.
Let me get this right. You're claiming that we could leave the EU, which will mean, because you've made a big song and dance about it, ending free movement of peoples. That would not apply to the United Kingdom, but we would still access the single market on the same basis as we do now?
We would continue to trade tariff-free because it's in their interest, even more than ours. And just to be clear...
So, let me try and get you to be clear, because it's interesting. On the same basis as now, we would trade on the same basis, is your claim?
Absolutely in their interests, even more than ours. We have a big deficit with the European Union. And let's be clear, the EU has some modest free trade agreements with the rest of the world, not nearly as many as Switzerland, but they do have some free trade agreements. Those countries trade tariff-free with the EU, and they do not have free movement of labour. So to suggest that the only way to access the European market tariff-free is with free movement is simply not true, Andrew.
But if Europe was to agree that there would be no price of membership for being part of the single market. There's no free movement.
We won't be part of the single market.
No, but you're saying we'd have the same
We would access it,
as
yes.
if we were.
No, we.
Well, I asked you if it was on the same terms.
No. The single market has become a big totemic issue. We do not want to be in the single market. We want to trade tariff-free with the European Union.
But in terms of trade, we'd have the same access as we do now.
I believe we will trade tariff-free.
So, if the European Union conceded that to us, what would stop Sweden, Denmark, Poland, other countries saying, we'll have that too then? If the Brits get that, the European Union elite is never going to agree to that. You know that.
Well,
he's right. Andrew Neil is 100% right. There she is, nodding her head, saying it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be nice and dandy. There's not going to be any problems there. And now there's this. I mean, it's just diabolical, guys. It's just. Oh dear, oh dear. There's another one. Here you can see she says she's hugely delighted at Brexit, and they're from Bloomberg. Brexit is costing the UK 100 billion a year and lost output. So just a little one here.
I'm hugely delighted at Brexit.
From Brexit, what have you found?
So we looked at sort of the impact of Brexit through a number of angles. There's the sort of classic angle, just looking at the headline impact on GDP. And that's the number you've said there, this £100 billion pound number, which is essentially that we think the economy is about 4% smaller than it otherwise would have been had it remained in the single market.
This is a joke. This is such a joke. Shall we listen to James O'Brien? He reacts to Andrea Leadsom's assertion that she's delighted at how Brexit is recalling the time that he interviewed her in 2016.
So I said, OK, well, I still think we should have him in the studio for as long as we possibly can. Who are you thinking we could get on to tell the former Director General of the World Trade Organization that he doesn't really understand what the World Trade Organization does or is? Who do you think might be qualified to do that? And you know what the answer was? All together now? Andrea Leadsom. Andrea Leadsom. So I sat in a studio. I quizzed Pascal Lamy, a lovely bloke, about all of the ramifications of World Trade Organization rules and the reality of what leaving without trade deals would mean for the United Kingdom. And then I said, thank you very much, Pascal Lamy, former Director General of the World Trade Organization. And I had to pivot on my chair. I used to love pivoting on that chair. It was really nice. You sort of turn like this. And I had to say,
Andrea Leadsom, we won't be an elephant anymore. I'm not sure what we will be, but it won't be anywhere near as big.
And she just started saying words, making noises that sounded like words.
Had we negotiated free trade with big economies, that could have been what the UK achieved. If we leave the EU, we will be able to negotiate those free trade agreements on our own. We're the world's fifth biggest economy.
Here's the thing, guys, and I will come back to those gifts of membership in a second because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Here's the thing, like, we could still have trade agreements with other countries, with other nations outside the EU, while still being a member of the EU, as long as we don't affect the EU single market. We still could have had that. We could have still had that. This is so infuriating. God almighty, guys. I wish I had my camera on so you can see my face, but I can't because it's gone. Hello, Chatty Rat. Good to see you, buddy. I hope you're having a good week. Alistair Keir, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. That's extremely kind of you. Gifted 5 gifted memberships to Lefty Boater, Chatty Rat, Ben Shaw, Simon Says 55, and 91 Leeds. Thank you so much, Alistair Keir. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Andrea Leadsom, says Mark Wilkie. Hello, Mark. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to be able to show you guys the orb today. I got the orb and that set up because the camera's gone. I can't show you it today. I'm really sorry. But But yeah, like we have one of the biggest economies in the world, but it feels like this economy that we have is just falling down the toilet, as time passes on. I just feel like what we are losing everything that we stood for. But anyway, carry on, James.
And the reaction of Pascal Lamy was extraordinary.
What will you offer to the people you negotiate with? Your policy is zero tariff on the UK market. What will you offer to the others? If they have free access to your market, they're not going to give you anything if they have the free access. It just doesn't make sense.
The director actually caught it on camera. He did that sort of curly-whirly cuckoo thing next to his head while she was talking, I think. And that was the moment when I thought, I can't do this anymore. Because on LBC, I could come on air and say, Andrea Leadsom is talking absolute rubbish. But on the BBC, I had to treat her as if she was an equal and opposite authority on the World Trade Organization to the man that had, until relatively recently, actually run the World Trade Organization. And that is why the country is where it is today. And, of course, for the racist Farage fans, you don't even get to say, well, it's worth it anyway because we've brought down immigration.
Yeah, how's immigration going? Because that was one of the things that was one of the driving factors into people also. I mean, obviously, there were other factors too, but one of the biggest driving factors was, what was it, 36 million Turkish people were going to come to the UK if we drove it down. You remember that? Do you remember that poster? With all of those, because Turkey, they put this fear of Turkey is coming to the UK. It's coming. They're coming to take over. I mean, it's just, yeah. Number 3 says we could have imported lamb from New Zealand, but it costs more than Welsh lamb, and rightly so. I remember the original debate about that. Yeah, but it would have cost more than Welsh lamb. I find that a little bit extraordinary, number 3, simply because the cost that it takes to get us from that side of the world to the other, as well. And luckily, on tomorrow's Regan's News Round, I'm going to be giving Brexiteers a geography lesson when I talk about this as well. I know people are going to be looking forward to it. Does the UK as a movement of peoples and goods, says Jow, and businesses with Hong Kong because Portugal as it is with Marku, I could get up in the morning and decide to live in Marku would not be hard. Yeah, she doesn't understand how trade works. You can't just the trade has to be has to be agreements. It can't just be like you can do, we're going to have all the same deals as we want. We're just not going to have the freedom of movement. It's just like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Oh.
Yeah, you would now be arguing, it's great that I can't get my mum into a care home. It's great that the local cafe is shutting for 3 days a week because they can't get the staff. Oh, it's fantastic because we've got fewer immigrants coming here. So there it is. And Andrea Leadsom is still in government. I'll say that again because it's extraordinary, right? She's
still in government. This same person is still in government. Why? Why is she still in government? What a crazy. All right, let's move away from it, guys. So I got quite a few clips on PMQs anyway. Guys, I'm just going to come to this screen just for a moment. I'm just going to have a quick look at the poll that I've got up. If you can access the poll, I know one person said they can't access it, but for those who don't, there's a poll up today. I've got who performed best at Prime Minister's questions today: Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, or Stephen Flynn. Why did I put Stephen Flynn? Because his 2 questions were pretty darn strong, and I don't think I've got one. I've got a clip for both of them, but I wanted to have that at least there for you guys. In actual fact, I can actually, if you really want. I mean, there's me there frozen in time, but I don't want to be frozen in time, if I'm absolutely honest. So we're not going to have me frozen in time. So this first one we're going to be playing is actually Dawn Butler. So the question that she asked, guys, and we'll hear it in a moment. Basically, asking about certain a certain question links to a Tory party website that seems to scrap people's data and please unwanted cookies on their machines. Can she assure the House that no laws have been broken?
Mr. Speaker, one of the Nolan principles, integrity, states that holders of public office should not act to gain material benefits for themselves, their family or their friends. Prime Minister, on the 6th of January, you tweeted a link to the Conservative Party website which seemed to scrape people's data and place unwanted cookies on their machines. The Good Law Project is now pursuing.
What are these people saying about the Good Law Project? They're screaming for the Good Law Project. Ooh. You know, the moment she said Good Law Project, you could tell they're like, oh, like they're roaring because they're scared. They're scared of the Good Law Project. They're scared of the work they do, and they do some wonderful, wonderful work, as I'm sure you guys know. That's why I think they're screaming, not because it's Dawn Butler, but because they're scared of the Good Law Project.
Can the Prime Minister assure the House that no laws have been broken by his party?
Do we think Rishi Sunak followed the laws?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, of course our party follows all laws.
Yeah, I'm not going to take his word for it, guys, if I'm absolutely honest. I'm not going to take his word for it. So this was one of the first questions from Keir Starmer at PMQs. I don't have all of Prime Minister's questions, so we'll just have bits and bobs basically. Yeah, we've talked about George Freeman on the, I think it was on the Snowflake Viewpoint. We talked a bit about him, and Max obviously talked about him yesterday. But I think this question from Keir Starmer is quite fitting to kick off PMQs.
Mr. Speaker, one of the most difficult experiences for any member of this House is speaking to those at the sharp end of this government's cost of living crisis. So nobody could fail to be moved by the plight of the member for Mid Norfolk. His mortgage has gone up £1,200 a month. He's been forced to quit his dream job to pay for it. A Tory MP counting the cost of Tory chaos. After 14 years, have we finally discovered what they meant when they said, "We're all in this together"?
It's so insulting. There's actually I wish I kept it. There was a tweet that someone posted. Apparently, he was advocating George Freeman for a knighthood around that time as well. But apparently, all the evidence has been deleted. Whether it has or not, I can't confirm. But yeah. And then this guy decided to talk. You remember this guy, right? I'm not gonna say call him, and I'm not gonna say the word. I know what he is, guys. I'm not gonna say what he is, just in case YouTube has an issue with that wording, because I had a video about him and things that he has said, and I did that video on Patreon because I was concerned about how YouTube might react to it. But Andrew Bridgen, this guy, what a clown.
Speaker, more than 2 decades ago, the then Prime Minister Tony Blair misled this House by promoting and endorsing the Post Office Horizon IT system as perfect, protecting the large corporation that created it and causing untold harm and damage and misery to innocent people.
Now that may be true. We don't know that for certain. I've said numerous occasions about the Horizon scandal, guys. I have said that all political parties have questions to answer on this. I don't think you can just pin this all on Tony Blair. I also do think that I still think Ed Davey knew something. He may, I mean, I still stand by the belief that he knew something when he was postal minister. I still have the belief that obviously we've had 14 years of Conservatives ruling the ruling. You're going to tell me Conservatives didn't know a clue about this? Like, come on. So to say that all the politicians didn't know, to say that all the other politicians and Tony Blair didn't, I think that's a bit farcical, if I'm honest. But go on, try to spin this, Andrew. Go on, give it a go.
Can the current Prime Minister think of anything he has promoted in partnership with huge businesses as safe and effective, which has ultimately harmed the British people? And will he use this opportunity to correct that safe and effective statement, or will he choose the same line as Tony Blair, sit back, do nothing, and let the misery just continue to pile up?
What on earth is he referencing, guys? What on earth do you think he can reference? You guys can say it in the chat, but I can't. Something to do with the pandemic, I think.
Prime Minister.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, as we've been clear, the Horizon scandal is a terrible miscarriage of justice, and we're doing everything that we can to make it right. To what he was more broadly insinuating, let me be unequivocal from this dispatch box that COVID vaccines are safe, Mr. Speaker.
They are safe. And let's not, I'm not going to call him what he is, but just in case YouTube decides to have issue with it. But you guys know where I'm going. Haggis UK is excellent. Haggis UK is excellent. There is one or two other Twitter handles that are very good with some of the clips as well. I will, after this live stream, put their handles of the Twitter handles in the description, because I'm going to be using them going forward if this live stream goes well. I'm just going to scroll up a little bit in the chat just to see what you guys are saying, because I don't think I've got everything. Yep, we know, Keir, you wanted to vote for Stephen Flynn. So I'm gonna pretend it's one more vote in there come the end of the live stream. Woke sound, the woke alarm says number 3. Yep, Good Law Project holds the Tories to account all the time. Yes, they do, Alistair Keir. They do some fantastic work. Chatty Rat says the EU-UK TCA is tariff-free subject to rules of origin. It requires customs and where appointed SPS documents. Iron that was not required pre-Brexit. Yes, exactly. He also says, plus it's often cheaper to pay the tariffs that cover the cost of proving compliance with the rules of origin. Correct. Thank you for that, Chatty Rat. Duke says, you're literally trying to pass through a law to break international law. Yes, that is true, yeah. Nope, liar, shorts, pants on fire, prime miniature, says Alistair Keir. Two-faced liar, says Duke. Yep, they are. It is indeed. Like him or not, Starmer is intelligent. I think, yeah, there's a part of me feels like he's playing the game, and there's a part of me where he's not. Tinfoil Hatter says Lefty Butter. Yeah, indeed. Who is the grease stain? Who is this grease stain on the carpet? You mean on the camera? Let's not. We don't need to give him a name. He's just passing through. I think you could check the Waste Monsters record hazards. He probably goes with Gove's carpet burn. Yeah, very good. I will call him an Idiota el Stupidio. Google it, says Chap. I should literally just pull up Google just to do that. I should do, shouldn't I? Okay, so this is why I put Stephen Flynn on the poll, guys. So Stephen Flynn here says bankers get unlimited Brexit bonuses, but for the public sitting at home struggling to feed their families, they have to suck up to deal with the food rising costs as a result of Brexit red tape. Broken Brexit Britain. We're actually delivering benefits, says Rishi Sunak. Take it away, Stephen. Knock 'em dead.
Scrapping the cap on bankers' bonuses was only made possible due to Brexit. So what the Westminster parties are now telling the public is that it's okay for bankers to have unlimited Brexit bonuses, but for the public sitting at home struggling to feed their families, they have to suck up and deal with the additional food price cost as a result of Brexit red tape. That is the cost, and that is the reality of broken Brexit Britain.
So for people who don't know what he's talking about, so basically Labour have come out and have said that they're not going to be scrapping the cap on banks' bonuses. I'm going to be covering that on Regan's News Round tomorrow, but what I will say on it here is this is a massive own goal by Labour. Even Phil from A Different Bias was not too happy with this decision by Labour, which is extraordinarily rare for him to be. It's extraordinary for even him to disagree with Labour, but he did disagree with Labour in his video. But yeah, I mean, I was not happy with Labour's decision to basically say that they're not gonna scrap it, and to outright say that. I mean, they could have just they could have been. I was just trying to find the right words. They could have just sat on the fence on it if they weren't 100% sure whether they were going to be able to scrap it or not. But to say that they're definitely not, that's just going to give a lot of people ammunition to say, well, why should I vote for you? You know, it's not a very good decision whatsoever, and it does make Labour look bad for sure. And Stephen Flynn is going to hammer this message home, and rightly so, because it's a ridiculous decision by Labour on this.
Isn't it the case that the great achievement of this Tory government is getting the Labour Party to agree to that bleak future?
Yeah. Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we're actually delivering benefits for people across Scotland. But when he talks about the cost of living, Mr. Speaker, the thing that he could do most to help is make sure that Scotland isn't the highest tax part of the United Kingdom. And it's not just for high earners, Mr. Speaker.
What is he talking about? God, I sound like Max there. That's not good. No, but in all seriousness, what is he talking about? This man has no clue about Scotland. Like my knowledge is not that good, but I think his is probably even poorer, if I'm honest. I mean, he literally will say anything just to make himself look good.
Everybody earning £28,500 or more is paying more tax in Scotland than they would in England, thanks to the SNP.
Okay, sure, Rishi, sure. I mean, sure, because obviously you know what you're doing. So, for those who, I'm just going to pause that one. So, for those who don't know, there was I haven't got the full video clip, but this was after the clip. But basically, so Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer basically had a question. One of his questions he was asking about telling about the mortgage of a person from Iceland. His name is Phil, not the same Phil from Different Bias, a different Phil, who's basically going to be ending up paying more on his mortgage, and he's not going to be able to pay it. And basically, he's asked the Prime Minister, how are you going to help this man? And what's really, really infuriating for me is not just the fact that Rishi Sunak, and time again, guys, when it comes to Prime Minister questions, it's not just the fact that he doesn't answer the freaking questions. They laugh about this. And it's just they just don't. It's not just Rishi Sunak that doesn't give a shit anymore. It's members of his party openly laughing and mocking about this. And Supertanskiii here says, Sunak, a man sitting on £1 billion family of fortune, laughing at an Iceland worker that can't even make ends meet thanks to the disastrous economic decisions of this government. Effing Gallagher, is it? Like Starmer said, just call the election. I mean, just listen to what Keir Starmer says at the start of this.
Yeah, I actually didn't expect him to be laughing at Phil. I did not expect him to be laughing at Phil. Not addressing.
Look, why is he smiling? Why is he laughing? This is someone's life has been destroyed by the actions of him and his Conservative government, and he's laughing about this. Like this is a joke to him. It's all fun and games to him. This is someone's life, and it's not just Phil. There are hundreds of thousands of people up and down, not just in England, but across the United Kingdom, have suffered by the actions of this Conservative government. And they laugh about these things. And they can sit there and laugh because they are able to get away with it. They're not the ones who have to wake up every day thinking how they're going to feed themselves. They're not going to wake up every day thinking how they're going to pay their bills. They're not waking up every day thinking, counting every single penny that they have. They're not going to be waking up every day thinking, can I put on the heating today? Do I have enough clothes to keep myself warm? It's just so infuriating to see him with a smile on his face on something so serious as this. This is not some made-up person.
The Prime Minister just doesn't get how hard it is for millions of people across the country like Phil. That is the primary problem. Struggling with their mortgages, their bills, the spiralling cost of living. And the Prime Minister's response is never to take responsibility.
Absolutely. Keir Starmer's bang on the money. He never takes responsibility for his actions whatsoever. This guy can't even use a freaking credit card, for crying out loud. Now, I can't make the argument about filling up a gas pump because I haven't got a driving licence, so I'm as bad as Rishi Sunak when it comes to filling up car in a gas car. But as to Keir, seriously, thank you so much for that super chat. You did not need to do super chat just because I'm ranting, buddy. You really didn't need to. That's extremely kind. So Scotland has 6 tax bands, 10p or more on average, £28,000, £45,000 above pay more. Thank you for that super chat, Alistair Keir. Appreciate it. At least you guys have a sensible government up there. That's the one thing that you guys have, at least a sensible government of some sort. And hopefully today we'll get some time to talk to watch a bit on Nicola Sturgeon and a bit on the COVID inquiry, because I do want to give a bit of that as well. The Jolly Pirates laughing, says Jow. Yeah, it is. It's just disgusting. Jim Stevens says Starmer is a Tory plant. I definitely don't trust Keir Starmer, and I totally understand that. I totally get that comment, Jim. But the best way to describe the situation that we're in, and this is the best way that I look at this in this situation. Yeah, you have a choice between 2 rotten apples, and you have one really, really bad rotten apple that you've had, and you've been dealing with, and you've eaten for the last 14 years, and it's getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Or you take the other rotten apple, which you haven't had before, but it's probably not going to be as bad as the same rotten apple you've been having for the last 14 years. And I think I know which rotten apple I'm going to take. So I think that's the best analogy that I like to use when I think about Keir Starmer and Labour. However, there is one person in that picture who I actually do, who is the most sensible out of the Labour Party, and that is Angela Rayner. Because she is someone that has the background of knowing what it's like to struggle, and she has that history behind her, and that's what gives me optimism about a Labour government, because we have to have some optimism about Labour, rather than always thinking doom and gloom. Because we should. Your super chat is not up. What? It's up here on my phone. I don't know why you can't see it, as the key. Have you tried refreshing? I don't know if that's going to fix it, but it's definitely here, buddy, along me. I don't know if anybody else can see it there, but thank you again for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know why it's not coming up on your end, buddy, because you said you couldn't see the poll, and now you couldn't see the super chat. It's a bit weird, that. I couldn't comment on Max's chat last night at all. Don't know what the hell happened. I didn't show up at all. Did use Ray for my... Oh, hey Hugh, good to see you, buddy. Sorry, I didn't even see you there. Maybe YouTube banned you for the day for commenting. I hope not. I hope not. Anyway, let's finish listening to the rest of this guy. Guys, sorry.
Show contrition or even any level of basic understanding. He's so detached, he thinks he can paint a world in which their problems simply don't exist. The problem is he can't even fool his own MPs, let alone anyone else. The member for Mid Norfolk says he's exhausted. He's looking forward to new opportunities outside of Parliament. Why doesn't the Prime Minister do him a favour, call an election, so he and the whole country can move on?
Yeah, that's what he should do. Yeah, move on, because we're sick of this. We're sick of this dragging on. The country, the whole of the United Kingdom, is sick of this. We want this general election. We want it now, and we're tired of waiting for it. We are absolutely tired of waiting for it. So, I think that's all the PMQs ones I've got. So we'll do forever, guys. I didn't think we'd be spending that long on those clips, but there you go, guys. Oh no, don't you start. No, it was only Max's chat only, says Hugh. Oh, good. I hope it's just a one-off thing. So this one here on the BBC Politics Live here. This was great here by Stella Creasy. 21 million extra customs declarations, even the number of tax declarations on a system that hasn't even been built yet. It is mad, it is chaos, and it should be stopped. This is just a rejoin argument from the Tory. Just listen to how sensible she sounds, and then listen to the reaction of the Tory here.
We're not even talking about the system that's supposed to be coming in October, where everything is going to be checked, which is 21 million extra customs declarations. That's double the number of tax declarations this country has on a system that hasn't even been built yet. It is mad, it is chaos, and it should be stopped.
Right, should it be stopped? What you've heard from Stella is an articulation of the ultra worst case scenario that has none of the discussions about the benefits potentially that Tim mentioned.
What are the benefits of Brexit then, young man? Can you share some of the benefits of Brexit? Maybe sovereignty? Is that it? Is that the benefit? Is that the best benefit you've got, young man? I don't even know he's young, but the way he's talking, I don't like the way he's talking is like so calm and everything. Like everything's gonna be fine. Yeah, for you maybe, but I don't think for the rest of us.
As well. The reality is that the conversation about Brexit was always about saying the deal with the EU does not take into account the fact that there could be something better with the wider world out there. That
We said earlier that we don't have a trade deal with the United States. The only trade deal we've had, a lot of trade deals were renewed. I think it was like 72 trade deals that we've renewed or something. And they tried to big it up like it was part because of Brexit. No, there's just some of the deals that have just carried on. We've had problems with our trade deal with Canada because of Brexit. We've got shoddy deals with Australia and New Zealand because of Brexit to try and make us look like, hey, look at these fantastic new deals we've got with countries from the other side of the freaking world. So what's he going to say next? Oh, we got this fantastic trade deal from Chile. Yeah, we got a trade deal with Chile. South Africa. Oh, we got a trade deal with South Africa. Look at these fantastic deals from these countries. Nothing against them, but would it not be cheaper and better to be with the neighbours right across our yard? I'm just saying.
Necessarily means making things harder with the European Union and making things easier elsewhere. We're not at the point where we can actually say how hard that process with the EU is going to be, or how easy and successful it's going to be with the rest of it.
It's not going to get easier. Didn't Jacob Rees-Mogg said it would take 50 years for our benefits to come through, guys? Didn't he? Is that what he said? 50 years? How old would I be by then? I'll probably be in my 70s by then. I don't know if I can wait till my 70s for the benefits of Brexit, guys. I think that would be. I think I'd be 50 years is quite a long time.
90 days. Surely businesses need to know what they're planning for to pay in extra charges in 90 days. And you can't even say that. I asked the Minister on the record about this 2 weeks ago, and she said, oh, yeah, we don't know what we're going to charge them yet, but it's definitely not going to cover fruit and veg. And then
Thanks for popping by, Jim Stevens. Take care, buddy.
2 days later, she says, oh, actually, it is going to cover fruit and veg. It's chaos. It's mad. It has to be stopped because we are all going to pay much more for our food, and there will be food shortages. And if you want to rule those out, do it now.
This is just a rejoining argument, Stella. Like that.
She just gave you the opportunity to rule it out, and you didn't. She literally just gave you the opportunity, and you didn't. This is a rejoin argument. No, it's not a rejoin argument. It's a freaking fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. Thank you, Breast for Britain, as well for putting this up. I will put them and all the other Twitter handlers on in the description at the end of this, guys. But do we really want to watch another one? Probably not. It's going to drive me more insane. So let's just try a Labour one here, guys. So on the addition of Brexit costs coming in. So what's Labour saying about this? Let's hear.
In the next hour, she's a flower seller. She gets all of her flowers from the Netherlands. They are going to increase in price because of the extra checks that need to be done to such an extent that she may not be able to do that anymore. Andrea Leadsom said, buy your flowers from the UK instead. Would a Labour government look again at trying to help her?
Yes, absolutely. And I think Andrea Leadsom's response is completely wrong. I mean, if we can help people, the people who've so far negotiated with Brexit has been Liz Truss and Boris Johnson. I am absolutely convinced, Kay, that a Labour politician will do a better job than them at getting what's right for our country.
So you'd want to change the Brexit rules?
We would look at where businesses are struggling, where the economy is struggling, and go and see if we can get a better deal for our country. That's what anyone who's in charge should be doing.
Wouldn't that be opposite to what the British people voted for in 2016?
They may have voted to leave the European Union, but they didn't vote to get a bad deal.
Labour are not counting themselves as to want to rejoin the EU single market, and this is kind of like oh, look at what the Tories have done, and Kate Bailey's like, okay, like, what is Labour gonna do? It's just like, we're gonna make it better. Okay, how are you gonna make it better? Can you break it down for us? Can you explain to us what are Labour gonna do that's gonna make it easier for us? So one thing that Keir Starmer has said, that he has said that he's gonna, well, I think it was David Lammy actually saying, looking for closer alignment with the EU, but not outright rejoin the single market. But yeah, Labour's not really being very clear, if I'm honest here.
Well, they're still our closest trading partners. If we can work to get some sort of negotiation which is good for our country, I don't think any British person is going to say no to our economy improving or our trade deals getting better.
Okay,
I do agree that I do like the fact that Labour are wanting to talk to the EU, but like, they're not being very clear, and the fact that they're ruling out rejoining the EU single market, and it's not helping at all, guys. It's yeah, let me show you my still camera, guys. Look how messed up I am. I don't know what happened to it. It's really, really bad. I'm just going to put it on this screen for the time being. I just want to see how the polling is going, guys. We've had 16 votes. Who performed best at PMQs today? 76% say Stephen Flynn. We're going to say 8. We'll say it's a bit higher because of Alistair Keir's vote as well, which he couldn't vote. Keir Starmer 24%. No one's voted for Rishi Sunak. I'm kind of not surprised that no one's voted for Rishi Sunak, if I'm absolutely honest there, guys. I'm going to scroll up in the chat because I haven't really caught up with many people in what you guys are saying in the chat, because I've missed quite a few comments, guys. I hope I haven't missed too many. Very strange. Somehow I've been blocked to comment or something, says Hugh. Yeah, that's very strange. Prime miniature. Yep, he is a prime miniature. What benefits you car seller, says Joe. Gaslighting, says Alistair Keir. Portugal in the EU trade deal with the US for years. Yeah, decades, I would say. Yeah, 0.2%, 0.8%, 0.4%. Yet we have lost 4% from the EU as the key. Yeah, it's a massive amount. It's a massive amount of loss. Just believe 50 years long enough, and I know the future. That's number 3. Rejoining argument. I know it's very insulting. Comeback there. UK to get tariff-free trade deals with the Vatican City. JR will be able to import rosary beads tariff-free, subject to rules of origin, of course, says Chatty Rat. Yeah, that's all what he wants at the end of it, isn't it? Hugh says to Joe, it happened before when people banned the word Hugh in live chat during the Hugh Edwards Pado Palvalar. Oh, is that the reason? Just because of your name? Just because of your first name? Ugh, that's stupid. Hello, Sir Larry the Cat. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Everyone's saying meow. Labour will get bogged down sorting out all the Tory Brexit mess. I think they will be looking to deal with the cost of living crisis before they deal with Brexit, if I'm honest. But they're going to have so much on their plate. I don't know where they're going. I think the cost of living crisis is going to be their main priority. Voted to leave. What did you expect, says Jow. I don't understand Labour's position. Ignoring widespread demands to fix the faults. Rejoin. Yeah, says number 3. The best Scotland can do is get out of this Westminster fiasco. Absolutely, Stephen Banker. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jow says Portugal spent millions in support to our businesses and citizens because of Brexit. Guess who will have to pay for it if they want to come back? Now multiply that for all the EU states. Yeah. Because all these EU countries. Yeah, you made a great point there, Jow. We didn't really, we don't think about that. All these EU countries had to invest to prepare for all this coming on their end, and they have. And if we want to change our minds, well, it's not like the EU aren't going to want some kind of compensation because these nations had to pay for them. So yeah, it's absolutely right there. So this one here, guys. So stop. Please, Carol, please. Want to remind ourselves, guys, that the general election, this is really important. Voter ID.
Over the past few years, the government has been rewriting the rules of the game, changing how Britain's politics works.
The government's accused of making it harder for some people to vote.
The new voter ID rules will be used in an election.
For the first time in this year's general election, anyone who lacks the right kind of identification will be denied a vote. Up to 2 million people fit that bill. One senior Tory party.
I totally forgot that there's music to this guy, so I'm not sure how this is going to affect my. I'm not going to be able to. It's not like I'm going to monetize this live stream anyway, but.
Figure Jacob Rees-Mogg has since admitted this was a form of gerrymandering designed to warp elections to benefit the Conservatives. There are more changes you might not have heard about. They've now changed the voting system for how mayors are elected. So if you live in London, Manchester, Liverpool, or a host of regions in England, you will no longer be able to write down a second choice on your ballot paper. That second choice meant people could avoid splitting the vote. Their first choice was Greens or Lib Dem, but the candidate didn't have enough support, their vote for, say, Labour would be counted instead. That option is now gone. We have to ask, who will that benefit? And in November, ministers quietly pushed through a massive, unprecedented hike in the amount parties could spend in elections without even holding a vote in Parliament. Needless to say, only the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, knows when the election will be, and the Conservatives are far out fundraising the Labour Party. These rules matter because they rewire our system, shifting which issues are heard, which people are elected, and which voices are boosted or ignored. Is our democracy being warped and weaponised? Read Byline Times to get some answers.
And I will be reading, of course, in the future, as always, stuff from Byline Times to you guys, because they do wonderful work, as we are fully aware. And Carol Vorderman is doing a great job of speaking on behalf of many of us as well. But yes, we have to remind ourselves that voter ID is going to be needed for this upcoming general election, and it's going to be much harder for smaller parties to be able to have much of a vote in here. I didn't know that about the mayoral candidates, so that's a great reminder that was there. I'm going to be talking a bit about this tomorrow anyway. Let me pause that one. I'm going to be talking a bit about this tomorrow anyway, but yeah, democracy. She looks much too young, too much plastic work done. She looks silly, ludicrous, says Hugh. Hugh, I honestly don't care about how she looks, as long as if she's someone that can influence people for the better. It's not about how they look, it's about what they do. I don't see people telling me that I'm handsome and that's making a difference to my channel, if I'm honest. Declassified UK is interesting as well. They are number 3. Yeah, I do have them on my tabs as well. Yeah, Declassified UK, they are. So let's. I'm not going to talk too much about the DUP, because again I'm going to save that for tomorrow, when I will be covering it as part of the Regan's News Round tomorrow. But a very unhappy Sammy Wilson calls the government spineless, weak and kneel frauds over the Northern Ireland deal for refusing to give up the consequences of what he has done. One could argue that, of course, the consequences of those are Brexit, in which Mr. Wilson responded.
Do you fear that your leaders have accepted too little? Is that what you're saying?
I think that they've got as much as they could extract from a government which was not prepared to live up to the consequences of what it had done when it struck the deal with the EU. And, you know, I don't put the blame on my party leader.
Your party voted for this Brexit deal. Your party backed it. I don't need to say what you guys already know, because Max has covered this top to bottom so many times, and this guy is still, he's so clueless. They are the dumb party. The dumb party. They are the dumb party is what they are, guys. If you have great initials for DUP, dumb is one of them, that is for sure.
I put the blame on the government. The government created a problem in Northern Ireland. It was the government's responsibility to solve that problem.
But you could have stood up and said, no, this is not in the interest of the people of Northern Ireland. We are not going to support this. You and your party could have done that. But what did you do? You voted with them.
And rather than do that, they simply offload the consequences off to the people in Northern Ireland, and that's wrong. And
do politicians like yourself, though, need to accept that the EU wouldn't move any further, that they seem to have softened their position and they weren't prepared to reopen the Windsor framework? It wouldn't have been possible.
Well, you know, this government boasts that Brexit was done in order to claim back sovereignty for the United Kingdom.
How's sovereignty going, guys? Have we reclaimed sovereignty? You know what? I need to do a poll, guys, to find out whether the United Kingdom has reclaimed sovereignty. I think that would be an interesting one. Have we reclaimed sovereignty, guys? Because that's the main thing, guys. Have we finally done it? I call them the Flintstones DUP. Yabba dabba doo.
And on one of the most basic areas of sovereignty, i.e. the protection of the Union, it's rolled over to the EU. Now, that's a problem for the Prime Minister and for his cabinet. Unfortunately, it leaves us with an issue in Northern Ireland. But, you know, I don't think that we should give up simply because we've got a spineless and weak-kneed government. We should be holding them to account, and the electorate will hold them to account eventually, of course, because the electorate will see the frauds that they are, claiming that they wanted to have sovereignty, to claim power to the British Parliament, and then relinquishing it almost at the first time the EU starts pushing.
Strong words. Thank you very much.
One thing we can agree with is that this government is spineless, weak-kneed frauds. That is something that I think we can agree with Sammy Wilson on. But like I said, I'll talk more about the DUP tomorrow on Regan's News Round. Let me just pause all these clips here. So, I have not watched or listened to much of the COVID inquiry. But obviously, one thing I will say is that out of all the people like even obviously Mark Drayford is obviously one that and the way he handled it in Wales was very well as well. But I thought this person right here, this is someone that, you know, she's not Nicola Sturgeon. Is she perfect? No. No politician is perfect. But damn, oh damn, would I have killed to have her as the Prime Minister over what we've had for the last 14 goddamn years. I mean, this woman is just, it just streams leadership, but also humanity as well. So this is one of 3 clips we're going to be watching in from the COVID inquiry from Nicola Sturgeon. A visibly emotional Nicola Sturgeon says, the nature, content and substance of her decisions deserve to be scrutinised as closely as possible, but she takes it very, very personally when people question the motives, which were absolutely in good faith. And that is, this is I really, you know, in comparison to what was happening in Westminster, like and you guys from Scotland who are here, you guys can speak volumes about how COVID was handled by Nicola Sturgeon and her party, far more than I can. But even I'm down here in England, I know that they were being looked after to the very best of the Scottish Government's abilities in what was a very difficult period of time for everyone across the globe.
Statisticians' evidence to this inquiry, looking at the quite significant lower deaths in terms of COVID-19 on an age standardised basis in Scotland than in other parts of the UK, still far too high. We were always trying to protect people and to minimise harm in all of its forms. And the nature and the content and the substance of those decisions deserve to be scrutinised as closely as possible. It genuinely, I take it very, very personally when people question the very motives, because I know that the motives were absolutely in good faith and for the best reasons.
So my understanding was people were trying to question whether she was trying to do things from a political perspective as opposed to actually going out of her way to protect the lives of the people of Scotland. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the analogy that people were trying to make about her during her time, during that time period? For those up in Scotland, if you can answer that, I'd be greatly appreciated.
Your desire to be the person that drove COVID out of Scotland was the reason why you entered into direct Twitter messaging with Professor Sridhar, whom Professor Morris, the chair of the COVID group, has told us was in a minority of one in being the only person on that group who thought that COVID could be driven out of Scotland at that time.
I don't think that is a fair representation of her view, but I'm not here to speak for her. Can I just say, I didn't... This wasn't about my reputation as the person who drove COVID out of Scotland. I desperately wanted to minimise the harm of COVID in Scotland. I was not under any illusions about the reality of the situation we faced.
Yeah, it didn't seem like to me, in any way, shape or form, guys, that, the way that she, to me, you judge someone, sometimes you judge them on how they speak and by their actions, and in comparison to people and how they responded to things in Westminster, yeah, as Marcus said there, I felt better informed. Excuse me. Yeah. Alistair Keir said, "Yep, it was not perfect, but a hell of a lot better than Westminster's." Diners and your unicorn plonk Kears says, "Chatty rat." I will scroll back up to see some of the previous comments in just a second. NHS England held back test kits and PPE from Scotland, and Scotland had to bypass NHS England to get it. That's absolutely disgusting. My brother-in-law has COVID, says Mark. I'm sorry to hear that, Mark. Compared to Boris, a trained monkey would look like a college professor. Where's the media on Boris Johnson's F-ups? Exactly. The media down here went ballistic about Nicola Sturgeon and her WhatsApp message, and I'm like, where the hell were you with Boris Johnson? Like, where the hell were you lot with Boris Johnson? Like, it's just one rule for you guys and one rule for everyone else, you know. Just going to scroll up and catch some of the things you were saying just before we talk more about this. I had sovereignty in it with Chippens, no fish due to Brexit, says Larry the Cat. Nope, CCTV deal took it away again, says Alistair. It's fascinating to see the caveman in these days, says Jow. And it speaks, well, it emits sound. Don't understand politics, the DUP has. I am rambling again, says Jow. Ramble on, says Mark. Led Zepp, says Mark Wilkie. Yeah, she has empathy for people, as I said. Yeah. I felt sorry for her. I think she would have done a lot more for Scotland, but that's just my opinion, says Jow. I think if there wasn't some restrictions and that from Westminster, I think a lot more lives from Scotland would have been saved. I think that's something that I think everyone will agree. No one deserves to be compared to Trump, Hugh. Yeah. Anyway, so let's listen to this next one here. So in this one, Sturgeon tells the COVID inquiry that in order not to irritate Boris Johnson, she had to adapt a position of doing whatever Boris Johnson wanted her to do, saying that often the UK position was not the orthodox one and England was the outlier of the outlier of the four nations. But what kept happening was that a lot of times, and still happening to this day, is that Scotland takes the lead and little England seems to follow. I mean, that's how it came across to me anyway.
As we've identified, involved a responsibility to the Scottish people, of course, but also a responsibility to try to promote four nations working. Why was it that those two obligations were not able to coexist?
I don't believe it is the case that they didn't coexist, but in order for me, I have to choose my words carefully here, in order for me not to use the phrase that's been put to me, irritate Boris Johnson, I think I would just have had to adopt a position of doing whatever Boris Johnson wanted me to do. Now, as First Minister, if I thought we will focus here on areas of disagreement or divergence. There was a huge amount of good joint working and alignment and the different governments working together effectively.
Didn't she call him an effing something? Was it an effing idiot? She did call him an effing idiot, didn't she? Or was it another word? Like, the thing is that I think the reason why she's saying this is not for any reason for the sake of Boris. It is because in order for them to get whatever they needed from the British government, they had to they didn't want to be seen in any way, shape or form, Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP to be seen, the government in Scotland to be seen as political in any way, shape or form during this time. And I think that's what she was concerned about, and I think that's probably why she's saying what she's saying. And I can totally understand the position, considering you had an absolute clown running the Westminster. At least that's how I'm perceiving it here, guys.
But where I thought the UK government was taking a decision for England that was not the right one, I would have been negligent in my responsibilities just to go along with that in order to avoid bizarrely irritating people. I suppose another point in this is it's been described, it's often described as if the UK government's position on these things was the orthodox one, and any of the devolved administrations that diverged were stepping out of that orthodox position. That's not, I think, the right way of looking. Often in these issues where the Scottish government was in the language the UK government would use, diverging from their four nations preferred road, we were joined in that by Wales and Northern Ireland. So often Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland were in exactly the same position But the UK government, as was their right, had decided to take a different position. In effect, they often became the outlier in Four Nations decision-making, not Scotland.
And she's absolutely correct. And I remember this. So many times you saw Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland were on pretty much on the same page when it came to decisions when it came during that time, during the pandemic. And I remember this. And we were doing things differently to the rest of the Four Nations. But it also wasn't a case that that Westminster wasn't really like clamping down on Wales, or they wasn't really clamping down on Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland of doing things differently there. I'm just going to scroll a bit up in the chat because I know you guys from Scotland, obviously, I really do want to get your thoughts on this, guys. Stephen Banker says, Scotland takes the lead and England takes the credit. Yeah, that's how it's been. That's how it's been. No, absolutely. I don't, no offence intended. No, none taken, Stephen. You're absolutely right. But it's so true. Nicola focused on the people and the Tories focused on ripping off the public. She called him. Yeah. Absolutely right. There's no, I totally 100% agreement with you on that. Mark quickly said, yeah, she said Scottish nationalists were more dangerous to the UK. Scottish nationalists were more dangerous to the UK via the daily briefings than COVID. To jail, he says there. My highly trained musical ears can pick up all sorts of bollocks, admittedly, says you. Well, Gav was walking the Peruvian conga line, probably. Who are you referring to? Nicola, just ask him. I think we'll probably finish up. I'm trying not to sneeze, guys. I think we'll this last one here. This is from Channel 4. So this is obviously regarding to the WhatsApp messages. I'm about to sneeze, so I'm probably going to play it and just going to mute myself while we play this last one.
A question by a journalist from Channel 4. Where he asked you at that very press conference in August 2021, Scottish Government has a patchy record of disclosing evidence when asked to do so. Can you guarantee to the bereaved families that you will disclose emails, WhatsApps, private emails, if you've been using them, whatever, that nothing will be off limits to the inquiry? You responded, I think if you understand statutory public inquiries, you would know that even if I wasn't prepared to give that assurance, which for the avoidance of doubt I am, then I wouldn't have the ability. He asked specific questions about informal means of communication, including WhatsApps, but you knew by that stage that your WhatsApps had been destroyed.
But I also knew that anything of any relevance or substance from any of that material would be properly recorded in the Scottish Government system, and indeed would have been communicated in all likelihood by me through the daily media briefings that I gave. The importance, in my view, is...
I just want to ask, we were very... One of the things that and I'm not attacking Nicola Sturgeon here at all, guys. I want to make this very clear. You know, I really lambasted the Conservatives for using WhatsApp during this time and using it as government messaging. So my honest question was, why was Scotland using WhatsApp messages too? Just putting that out there. Why was she using them too? And was it just a case of it's easier for that community? Was it just a case that she was just using it easier for communication? And if that is the case, then can we not make that same argument to Westminster in whatever they were communicating on those WhatsApp messages? And yes, of course, they should have been fully disclosed, those messages that were missing from her. But I made it very clear that obviously that they should not have been using WhatsApp as any kind of communication whatsoever. But correct me if I'm wrong, is that not what Scotland were doing here as well?
Making sure that the inquiry has at its disposal all of the evidence underpinning the decisions as well as the decisions we were arriving at. I operated from 2007, based on advice, the policy that messages, business relating to government should not be kept on a phone that could be lost or stolen and insecure in that way, but properly recorded through the system. I would want to, again, underline that in my case, that communication was extremely limited, and I do not, would not relate to matters of substantive government decision making.
Okay, so she's obviously, like I said, I haven't listened to all of it, but she's made it very clear that she used it very limitedly, and that she very clearly stated there that she disclosed all information, as opposed to those in Westminster who simply lost their messages suddenly. But yeah, in that regard, you can just, the honesty from Nicola Sturgeon, that's how it comes across. It comes across she comes across as very honest here, and that's how I see her. Whereas I see the way that Matt Hancock or Michael Gove or Boris Johnson or Rishi Sunak, any of them, when they sat at that COVID inquiry and the way they come across, you can just tell, you can just see the difference and the tone and the way they respond to the questions in difference here. I mean, this is only the third clip that I've seen of Nicola Sturgeon, and I can see a stark difference in how she responds to questions as opposed to how those in Westminster responded to questions, just on that alone.
But that wasn't the question you were asked. You were asked the question as to whether you would disclose emails, WhatsApps, private emails, have been using them, whatever. He didn't ask you the question as to whether the material that was contained within the discussions exchanged by those media was recorded on the corporate record. He asked whether the emails, WhatsApps, private emails, whatever, would be disclosed, and you gave an assurance that they would be.
And I, as will have been the case in many occasions over the course of not just the COVID pandemic, but in my many years in politics, answering questions, when you're answering questions, you're trying to answer the substance of the question, and when you look back at the literal terms of the answer, it can be put to you in that way. So I accept that, and I apologise if that answer was not as clear. But I also...
I just want to put this comment here from Alistair Keir saying it's easy to use as it was stated. Notes were put on the Scottish Government system. Yeah, I don't doubt that it's an easy way of communicating, but she did just obviously she did state that it was very minimal communication that she used on there. So that just her putting that on the record helps a lot. Stephen Banker says at least Nicola shows up to these inquiries and actually answers. Yeah, she does answer. That's among other things as well. Attack her if you want, says Mark Wilkie. I'm not attacking her. I'm just asking an honest question. Where's Boris's apps? Where's Gove's apps? Exactly. Where's Rishi Sunak's apps? Yeah. Where are all their WhatsApp messages? Yeah. If we still don't know where their apps are, stop rambling, says Jal. No, you can ramble to your heart's content. Northern Ireland and Scotland used the Republic of Ireland tracking app. It cost our Republic of Ireland 800,000 euros. Northern Ireland and Scotland paid 1 million each, as did some states in the eastern seaboard of the USA. All the apps were inoperable. I'm going to say they were helpful. I'm going to chat you out. I can't say that word. I'm obviously playing dumb today. Transparency. Remember, if they lied in Scottish Parliament, they can face 2 years in jail for it, says Alistair Keir. Not wanting to offend anyone, the tipping point has been reached. Scotland is on the road to independence. Scotland was on the road for independence. The moment, just on Scottish independence, Joe, speaking from an English perspective, that they flat out lied to the Scottish people in 2014 when they said there would not be a vote on EU referendum. So just on that alone, it makes that vote null and void anyway. Because they lied, like the Brexit referendum, we were lied to there, and the Scottish people were lied to on the 2014 referendum, because they were told that there would be no vote on leaving the EU. We wouldn't be leaving Europe, the single market. We wouldn't be leaving the European Union. They were lied to then, so they're perfectly entitled to another referendum.
I want to be very clear and give the inquiry a personal assurance that I am certain that the inquiry has at its disposal anything and everything germane to my decision making during the process and the time period of the pandemic and the factors underpinning those decisions. That has always been important to me, and it remains important to me, but more importantly than that, it's essential to the scrutiny of the decisions that I will carry the impact of these decisions with me forever, and I want to make sure that those who come after me in politics have the benefit of the learning, the things that my government did right and the things that my government did not, that were not right, or with hindsight that we wish we had done differently. I cannot say strongly enough how important that is to me. These decisions were of a magnitude beyond what I had ever experienced, and that is true of decision makers everywhere, and the impact of them I think about literally every day, and I want this inquiry and the Scottish inquiry to scrutinise those decisions so that we can learn and future governments can learn appropriate lessons from them.
That's one thing I would love to believe, you know, I generally hope that. But, you know, with this current political party in power down in Westminster, they don't care. My hope is that Labour does learn from this, and that some politicians learn from this. I would say whatever so-called good politicians we have do learn from this. I believe politicians in Scotland will take it seriously. Will try to take and learn from as much as they possibly can, and I think it would be the same for Wales and Northern Ireland. If hand on heart as well, guys. So guys, obviously I've gone quite long today. I wasn't expecting it to, but I'm going to play one more funny video for us before we head out. Actually, I might play 3 funny videos on our way out, actually, guys, because I'm just going to check what you guys seeing in the chat. We'll watch a few funny videos before I call it a night, because it's been a much longer one than I anticipated. I can say that this stream has been. Hold on, let me end the polling as well. Actually, I think it's time to end the polling as well. We'll see what that is. So it's polling complete. We're going to assume that there's one more vote on there from Alistair Keir because he couldn't vote. But yeah, Stephen Flynn, resounding success after 17 votes. 76% said Stephen Flynn, 23% said Keir Starmer. No one voted for poor Rishi Sunak. Yeah, I don't think we need to say poor Rishi Sunak there, guys. So we'll play these 3 funny videos, and then I'll do the thank yous and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy these funny videos here. So this is a really good one from ʽÇOʞ Big Bong 3 here on Twitter. I hope you guys enjoy this. If Boris Johnson got conscripted, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this one.
We are in the trenches, sir. Yes, sir. Just a quick question. When you say fight, do you mean hide in a fridge? Oh, no. Jenkins has been shot. Well, that's fine, Jenkins. We can sort that out. Has anybody got a hairdryer? If you blow a hairdryer on the wound, it will cure it. War. What is it good for? Lots and lots of money. Nothing. I mean, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Listen, boys, I know this is quite ironic, but I would quite like to leave. Over the top? Yes, I know I am. Oh, right, no, okay, right. Before we go, just so you know, boys, what I tended to do in my past job was to put the vulnerable in front of me to act as a sort of shield in order to make my life more comfortable. That's why I'm currently sitting on my privates, if you know what I mean. My colleagues, yeah. Well done, boys. Sterling work. Do you know what, boys, would really improve this trench? Would be a little bridge with a garden on it. You know, I think that's a good idea. Now, I know we are being shot at by the enemy, but does anybody fancy a glass of wine? Little work party, no? Oh, sorry. Ooh. There was a message that we were supposed to attack. Sorry, I'm I've lost my walkie-talkie. Yeah. I will join in with the boys attacking and dying up there. I'm just writing a letter to my sweetheart. Well, one of them. Yeah, writing a letter. Yes, no, I can't do email because, according to Nadine, she doesn't know what the internet is. I think this war actually might be nature's way of dealing with young people. You want us to lie down so we avoid all the bullets. Yes, no, very good. No, I'm great at lying. I did it to an entire country.
So good. This guy's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a brilliant video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And I'm going to finish it off with this one. The other one is the Larry and Paul one. We'll probably save that. It's an old one for Larry and Paul. Screw it. We'll play both of them. Anyway, here's our generally favourite, most trusted Conservative MP, Rosie Holt.
Well, actually, businesses always knew the cost of doing business, and at the time of Brexit, businesses knew we were leaving the singles European market. And I remember sitting down with businesses and saying, look, you are the foot soldiers of the liberation movement that is Brexit, and so some of you will be cannon fodder, and we will think of you fondly if any of your businesses do, but that's the price of freedom, and they understood that. Well, actually,
I've got a last one here, guys, and then I will say the good nights. Obviously, I know some of you guys are already on your way out, and that's great. Thank you guys for coming along. But yeah, I'm going to finish it with this one, guys. I'll play this last one. It's an old classic one from Larry and Paul. I think it was played yesterday, but I'm going to play it again for you guys before I do the outro video. So guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you whether you've liked, shared the live stream. I was to say this first episode was a sort of rounded success, so hopefully we'll do this again next week, guys. If you guys enjoyed these little clips and my thoughts, I'll obviously have to do something about the camera to get that working, but thank you, ʟᴬ, for both the super chat and the gifted memberships. That's greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate it. I am still, I don't know why I'm not getting responses to jobs that I'm applying for. I really don't know. It's so infuriating because I am fed up of not being in work, because I do want to earn some proper money. I'm fed up at that point. It's driving me a bit mad, if I'm honest. But your super chats and memberships, guys, does really help on some of the bills that I still have to pay, rather than me having to dig into my savings. But I greatly appreciate all that support, guys. I really do. We've got just a reminder as well before I play this and do the outro, guys. Friday, before Max's live stream, guys, Friday 7 p.m, not 8 p.m. when this live stream starts, 7 p.m, we will have the Snowflake's Corner. So join me at 7 p.m. on Friday evening before Max's live stream, and we'll be going through some of the world news, guys, together. And what we'll do is we'll transition, obviously, from that straight into Max's live stream. So if you guys have got nothing else to do while you're waiting for Max to go live, you can come and hang out with me before we transition into his live stream on Friday evening. As of course, tomorrow there will be the premiere at 8 o'clock of Regan's News Round. So if you've got nothing going on Regan's News Round, I'll be in the chat tomorrow evening in there with you guys as well. But thanks everyone for coming along, greatly appreciated as always. And I'm going to leave you with this last video. Exactly 4 years ago, guys, the UK left the European Union. This is an Honest Leave campaign video from the 2016 referendum. Noticeably how absolutely all the claims about it makes have come true. What has been your favourite Brexit benefit?
And bastards.
I laugh, but it also is true. Yes, it is true. Thanks, guys, for coming along. Take care and have a good rest of your week. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.